So, Mikel Antonio, let's get to Mikel Antonio's comments, right? Because I have the comments here ready for you. I'm going to read through them and ask you guys to let me know what you think about what Mikel Antonio said. Basically, Mikel Antonio was speaking about Mohamed Salah's situation, and this is what he said about the move to Saudi. He didn't turn that down, no way. He was locked up and the Reds had put that red arrow across saying, you are not going anywhere. He didn't stop that at all. To be fair to him, he didn't kick up a fuss and let them do what they were doing. But I know for a fact he was ready to go. I'd love to know how he knows that first and foremost. Now, look, I'm not naive enough to think that if Liverpool had have been willing to do business, Mo may not have gone. But I also think that Mikel Antonio's talking out of his backside a little bit in what he says here, and I'll keep reading because I hope it becomes apparent particularly what part he was talking out his rear end about. This video is sponsored by Surfshark, the best VPN on the market. Surfshark is an app or browser extension that allows you to change your location to access websites in other countries and keep you safe and secure from hackers. Using Surfshark, we here in Ireland can access other countries' Netflix libraries or other streaming platforms like DAZN in Spain for all those important Premier League games. Surfshark keeps you safe and private by protecting everything you do online. Everything. When your device connects to the internet, all that information is, in a way, blurred out. Surfshark is particularly useful for keeping you safe from being hacked if you use public Wi-Fi. Let's say you're in a cafe, you're at college, you're out and about, they've got you covered. Surfshark allows you to use one subscription on unlimited devices, meaning you can share your account with friends or family or that neighbour who's a little bit cheap. On top of all of this, Surfshark offers a 30-day money-back guarantee. You can also upgrade to Surfshark One, which includes the VPN, an alert system for breaches related to your data, such as emails and credit cards, and an antivirus software for your desktop. Our sign-up offer gives you Surfshark VPN for a little over €2 a month, and you'll get an additional 3 months free. Simply scan the QR code on screen right now or use the link in the description and enter the code Anfield Agenda at checkout. So what else can he do at Liverpool, said Mikel Antonio. He's done it. Saudi is a great opportunity for him. He's a Muslim man and I had everything screaming out for him. There was no actual negative for the man to not go. I understand he has a contract which he has fulfilled. So he wins another Premier League. Do you know what that means? He's just won another. It doesn't add much to anything else. He's done everything he could possibly do at Liverpool. I'm saying to you right now, a Muslim man going to a Muslim country, £215 million to Liverpool for a 31-year-old. I just find it completely crazy. They've not accepted that. He finishes with, my question to you is this. What do you think Liverpool are playing for this year? Even if you couldn't replace the man, let's call this season a write-off. Well, firstly, Mr. Antonio, we won't call this season a write-off because it absolutely will not be a write-off because we have 4 competitions and Liverpool need to try and challenge in each and every one of them. The Europa League, you would have to have us down as one of the favourites. And yes, it isn't the Champions League. The money isn't the same, but it's still another trophy that Liverpool and Mo could win. And of course, that would then put Liverpool back into the Champions League as a pot 1 team as the winners of the Europa League. But the part of all of this that kind of annoys me the most about what he's saying is the £215 million offer. Because for a man that claims to know a lot of stuff, what he doesn't know, apparently, is that the offer never came. There was no £215 million offer for Liverpool to turn down. It was hearsay, it was conjecture, it was whispers. And even the offer that did come in, the one that was made on the phone call with Mike Gordon, was an offer of £150 million, but there was a load of add-ons in that. About 50 million of that were add-ons, and a lot of them to do with how far or how well Al Ittihad had do in the Club World Cup. So even at that, Liverpool were being offered a guaranteed 100 million. So Liverpool didn't turn down 215 million, Mr. Antonio. The offer never came. And I would also love to know how he knows for a fact that Mo was ready to go. The money will still be there for him. And the thing and the difference maybe between Mohamed Salah and Mikel Antonio or somebody else is Mo's a winner. Mo wants to win trophies. Just because he's won everything once doesn't mean that's it. He'll throw his hands up in the air and go. He still feels that he has some money. Excuse me, not money, some fuel left. He definitely has the money coming. Has the fuel left in the tank to carry on at the top level. And yes, I understand the point that moving to a Muslim country would, probably have a lot of advantages for Mohamed Salah. But the level of football is far, far, far below the current levels that he's playing at. Playing in the Premier League week in and week out, competing with the best in the world, and obviously playing in European competition is something that I'm sure appeals to Mohamed Salah. So if I'm Jurgen Klopp, I just put that team I put that up on my team talk board. I put that article, that information from Mikel Antonio smack bang in the middle of the dressing room and use that as my team talk for Sunday. I actually can't believe he's been so stupid. He's done Jurgen Klopp's work for him, and I expect a reaction from our boys. So yeah, again, love to know how Mikel Antonio had all of this information to hand when most of what he said was wrong. Antonio talking out of his backside, said David Purcell. Who is Antonio again? He's your man that plays for West Ham. And look, honestly, I kind of like Antonio normally. I think there's a lot to admire about Mikel Antonio, the football player, his determination, his versatility. But he's totally wrong on this. Very, very, very wrong. And I guess maybe he's underestimated what winning stuff means to some players. It isn't all about the money, and look, these guys are going to be multi-millionaires regardless, and Salah, when he eventually does move to Saudi, will make a lot of cash. But you can't just write off your career at 31 and go, well, that's it now, I'm off to retire. Mo's going to play till he's probably 34, 35, and that would be in Europe at the top level. So if he goes off to Saudi at the end of this season, I'd say if he wanted to, he's 5 years left there easily. Antonio's salty because despite his muscles and a bit of speed, he knows he ain't ever going to win like Mo because he ain't ever going to be good enough. Look, maybe he's got a little bit carried away because he won the Europa Conference League, the also-ran trophy, the back of the bus trophy for the little clubs. Maybe, I don't know, maybe he's got a bit ahead of himself with that trophy. I hope he just rammed that back down his throat on Sunday, I really do. Antonio is a prize spoofer, said RBHE. All the opposition wants Salah gone. Don't get it twisted. They do, yeah, because it makes us weaker and they don't want to have to play against the great man. I totally understand where you're coming from. Antonio's too busy focused on winning the Conference League, so he doesn't know the levels that Salah is compared to him. Look, they aren't. Look, as I said, I kind of like Mikel Antonio normally. I just think what he said here is absolute pony of the highest order. Bit of a, I don't know if this is good news or not, but it's certainly news. Thursday we'll see Liverpool finally wear the new third kit, so the purpley coloured kit. Liverpool will be wearing that, confirmed in Austria on Thursday. So let's see if it's a lucky kit or an unlucky kit, because we will be quick to judge it. Oh, we will. If Liverpool don't get the results in this kit, it'll be put in the bad news pile. It'll be put in the bad luck pile. Just read what Antonio said the Void Dude, and thank you for your super chat. Is he stirring? Well, if he is, I think it's going to come back to bite him in the rear end, buddy, because I think if I'm Jurgen Klopp, that's my team talk, job done. Go out there now. And I'm sure Mikel Antonio is going to be in for a nice little bit of treatment from the cop when he shows up at West Ham on Sunday, and it's our job to give them a spanking. And I'm open to being corrected on this, but am I right in saying that the game isn't on TV in the UK this weekend? I think there's games at 1 and half 3 on Sky this weekend, if I'm not wrong, or at least I'm fairly sure that our game isn't on TV this week in the UK or Ireland. So do let me know if I'm wrong on that one. Is it on Premier Sport? No, I don't believe so. No, not on this occasion. Now, of course, I'll be whipping out the old Spanish DAZN for the watch along, but you're going to have to get creative, I think, if you want to watch the game this weekend. Do you think Nagelsmann will take Jurgen's place in 2026? I think that's too early for us to say yet, because, he's had a bit of a rocky career path over the last couple of jobs. And if he takes the German national team job, he has to prove himself there. And 2 years is a long time in football. So, look, interestingly, he's been linked with the Chelsea job, because already some of the media are starting to circle around Mauricio Pochettino, and Julian Nagelsmann name is one that's been thrown around as somebody that if Pochettino gets the boot, Chelsea would look to bring in. And I mean, if I was a Chelsea fan, I would genuinely be very worried, because what's happening at their club right now, it's fair to say everything that Todd Bowley has tried has failed miserably. The scattergun approach to recruitment, the managerial choices he's made, the money he's paid for people, the length he's put the contracts on. There's, if I'm a manager, I wouldn't touch Chelsea after Pochettino. I wouldn't go near the job. Rank the big six teams from best squads to worst. City, Arsenal, Liverpool, United, Chelsea, Spurs. That's for squads, not who I think's better. I think City have the strongest squad. I think Arsenal have probably a bit more squad depth with players we'd recognise than us at the moment. I think United have a decent squad if everybody was fit and available. Spurs, small squad, a lot of unknowns. Chelsea, I mean, it's a cast of thousands, but ultimately 11 injuries and a lot of uncertainty about their squad. So yeah, that would be roughly what I think I'd go with. Is there any updates of Nico Williams? Said Flugel Hanam, excuse me. Not really. So it's weird, the stuff around Nico Williams of Athletic Bilbao, because you'll see stories that say Liverpool are tracking him, Liverpool are looking at him, you'll hear about his release clauses, and I'm sure a lot of that is true. We should be looking at top young talents around Europe, and especially in wide positions when we know we're probably going to have to replace Mo down the line. But a lot of what I'm reading also, particularly coming from the Spanish side, will suggest that the Williams family, Nico, Iñaki and his parents, are very happy and very settled in Bilbao. And obviously, some players will stay at clubs like Bilbao their entire career because it's their club. And I don't know if we'll ever see Nico Williams leave Bilbao, but he is the right type of player that we should be looking at. So when you see us linked to these players, at least that makes sense, right? But I don't know if he will leave or if he'll sign the new deal at Bilbao. I think his current contract expires next summer, so let's wait and see what happens there. Thoughts on Kwanzaa? Very impressive, yeah, for a 20-year-old. And look, I see a lot of people want to say that Kwanzaa's 20. He's not that young, but he's a baby for a centre-back. Like 20 years of age for a centre-back is very, very young. And the biggest compliment I can give Jarrell Kwanzaa is that he has not looked out of place when he's played. And that's the biggest compliment I can give him. Now, I don't know if I'm yet at the point to think, well, we don't need to bring in another centre-back on the left-hand side of defence. I don't know if I'm there just yet. But either way, I think Liverpool will have to bring in another centre-back either in January or in the summer, regardless of Jarrell Kwanzaa, because Joel Matip will be leaving at the end of the season, so we're going to have a centre-back spot anyway. A season of man's football at Bristol Rovers did Jarrell Kwanzaa wonders, said Tom Goldsworthy. He's filling out, and when he, becomes 21, 22, 23, and he grows into, the adult part of his body, he's going to be a monster of a fella, Kwanzaa, so hopefully this development continues. Is there any news on Andre? Not yet, no. I can't even say to you guys definitively if I know that Liverpool will go back for Andre or not in January. I hope we do, because if Thiago does indeed move on, which we fully expect him to, getting Andre now in January would give us a bit of time to bed him in, give Jurgen an extra body, of course, but also would mean that we don't have to worry in the summer about going in and bringing in another midfielder, because we'd be stocked in that area. We'd only have to look to bring in a centre-back, a full-back and potentially a Mohamed Salah replacement, which is easier said than done.